What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the lunch break. Today, I was like, man, what is it that I just want to kind of rant and talk on? Because, this whole thing is stemming from back whenever I worked with my best friend. The two of us would get in the car and we would just drive for an hour ish, a little bit less than an hour. But we would drive for about an hour. We would just shoot the shit about whatever it was. We would talk about Pokemon Go, we would talk about video games, we would talk about TV shows, we would talk about movies, we would talk about anime, we would talk about whatever it was. We just chit chatted the entire time. So today I had the thought. I was like, you know what? Everyone's talking about Xbox, everyone's talking about PlayStation, everyone's talking about AAA failures, everyone's talking about all these issues in gaming. I'm going to rant about why I think that it's failing. Obviously, there is the girl boss issue that is coming from this. People don't want to have a girl boss that just is good. Ghost of Tsushima versus Ghost of Yote. Yote, she's just immediately good, while Tsushima, he worked for 3/4 of the game to get to the point that he is at. Now, maybe this comes from the idea that this is the sequel and they wanted to give you a lot of the abilities faster so that you're building on what you learned in the first game. But personally, I think that if you want to do that kind of approach, you need to use the same character so that it makes sense. This person has all this stuff. Personally, that's what I would have done. I've seen some people suggest that maybe they should have had him fighting the Mongols or fighting other groups or fighting something that is a larger threat than what was there in the first game. That makes sense to me. But if you're going to introduce a new character, I really feel like the best option would have been instead to do a whole different feel, personally. Keep the same idea of, oh, you're the ghost and you're fighting against corrupt people and criminals and all that stuff. And the general theme should stay the same. The mechanics of how to move and how to fight should stay pretty similar. But then give that character a different style. Give them different flair and pizzazz. That's my thought. My best friend, he's enjoying Ghost of Yote. He's liking it. Cool. I'm glad he's liking it. You know what I mean? So, with that, I see that as a serious thing. There's people that are tired of being lectured to. Whenever we buy a video game, we want to be entertained, not criticized for not being the right race, or not being the right gender, or not being the right sexuality, whatever the thing is. Because all of these games are also putting characters in history at a wildly high rate of LGBT when that wasn't a thing back then. Not in nearly the same levels. Even now, I think that LGBT percentage of population that is LGBT. In the United States, it's up to 9%. And I know for a fact that it's a wildly high percent for girls that are younger. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to just point this out. How many girls that you know say that they are bi, but have only dated boys? But they're like, but girls are nice too. It's like, you're just doing that. You're just identifying as bi because it, one, carries some social weight so that you can say or do things that maybe you wouldn't have been able to. Two, you are saying and doing that just as a way to fit in, do the popular thing at the time, because after it was made legal in the Obama era, it just exploded in the idea of, oh yeah, it's good, it's cool to be gay now, even though it's just another thing. Personally, my gay friends, I like my gay friends, but I like them not because they're gay. I don't give a shit if they're gay. Even as a Christian, I think that it's a sin to be gay, but I don't care. We all sin. What I do care about, I will say, the way I was raised, there's only two sins that are unforgivable sins: murder or I guess specifically taking the life of an innocent person, and then adultery. Those were the two things, ironically enough, that were considered unforgivable. And whenever I say taking the life of an innocent, I'm talking about intentionally. If an accident occurs and someone dies, it is not considered, an unforgivable sin. But I don't care about my gay friends being gay. They're sinning in their way. I hope that they accept, God and Jesus in their hearts at some point. Many of them are atheist or agnostic, depending. But I can hope that they do that. But I'm not going to judge them for their sin when I have my own sins. I am not a Jesus-like figure. Trust me on that. You've heard me swear. You've heard me talk mad shit against people. There's other things. I'm not a perfect Christian. I will treat people with respect as long as they are deserving of respect. And by deserving of respect, I mean they earn respect. But my point is that a large percentage of the girls in the younger areas are identifying as LGBTQ, but they have never done anything LGBTQ. Never. They've never kissed girls, they've never dated girls, they've never anything involving girls, but they still say and claim that they are LGBT. So that percentage, that 7.2 to 9.3, it's closer to 7.2 or less. And this is the highest since the Roman Empire, probably. And the Roman Empire didn't consider it gay. They just had sex with young boys. That's just what they did. They were like the Middle East today. The Middle East today, you rape a young boy, and it's not gay. You're just you're just relieving your manly needs using the boy, even though it's 100% gay. But, yeah. So my point is, the games are inserting gay into places that it makes no sense at all to have gay characters. Why? Because it's according to modern sensibilities. It's not according to historical stuff. It's not according to good writing. It's just according to, there's a bunch of LGBTQs in the studio. They want this to happen, and it's happening. And that is what people react to. People don't like having stuff shoved on them by a clearly biased, motivated by their own self-insert type of culture. They don't like that. So that's the first reason that games are having issues. They're having trouble with sales figures due to the fact that people are tired of it. Budweiser got canceled last year through a completely peaceful boycott that actually brought them down a lot. Maybe they bounced back now, but they felt it when all of their consumers said, nah, I'm good, thanks. Now, you're seeing game after game after game after game that Sweet Baby Inc. has touched that are failing, and every single one of them has someone gay in it. Every single one of them has a woman lead character. All of them are failing. But meanwhile, you can look at many, many, many games that have had either female main characters or female close support characters that have been successful. The Legend of Zelda game, Echoes of Wisdom, just came out a year ago now, and it sold really well. No gay, no girl bossing, none of that. They gave her an item, she used it. There was nothing controversial about putting her as the main character. Period. While everyone still wanted a Link game, I played it. It was a good game. I like all the Metroid games. All of them. And because I like all of them, I don't want to buy a Switch 2 is the problem. I want to play Metroid Prime 4, but I don't want to buy a Switch 2. So, point is, it's all awesome. It's all great. As long as the character makes sense, isn't forced in, and isn't some sort of stupid self-insert that people are already tired of. That's just how it is. I'm sorry to say it. It's the truth. Secondly, these game companies are putting their development times at ridiculous levels at this point. So let's pull this up, because during lunch breaks we are not looking up statistics and stuff like that. We are having a discussion over lunch break as if we are sitting with each other. We can Google stuff, we can look it up, blah, blah, blah. So average development time for a video game. Oh, I'm going to do two different ones. I'm going to do two different ones. For an indie game, the average development time is between a few days and several years, with the well, you can't include fucking Game Jam games, AI. Thank you so much. How long on average? Let's see if Quora has an answer. Simple, commercially available, aka something. So they aren't average. Okay, nothing is doing a good job of answering shit with this. All right, let's look at this and break it down a little bit. We're going to put them at these two. So games like Stardew Valley and Among Us took a few years to develop as an indie studio with small developer counts. Actually, that should be our second tab real quick. How average team size for indie games. Let's take a looky-loo. So average indie studios, I guess, are about 8 to 15 people. So whenever we look at Stardew Valley was one person, a few years to develop all of Stardew Valley, and that game has a lot in it. So a couple years for one person to do all that makes absolute sense. Also, think about the cost that it would be to pay that one person to develop. It's not that bad. Even if you were a studio that had funding, a single person salary, we'll say that you gave that person $100,000 a year to do the work. That one person at $100,000 a year, we'll say took 3 years to make Stardew Valley, would have been $300,000. Stardew Valley sales total. Oh my goodness, it sold 41 million copies. 41 million copies have been sold of this game at, we'll say, $20. Just so everyone's good, calculator. 41 million times 20. I don't actually remember what it is. But let's see here. For 300,000 costs, well, we're going to assume that there's a license. Let's just round it up to $500,000. After $300,000 to pay the person for each year, plus a license for, I don't remember what they used for Stardew Valley. That would put it at $500,000 of investment, and it's made $820 million. I don't actually know the price of Stardew Valley right now, but that's a quick, rough estimate. I know it's not $10 for Stardew Valley. I know it's more than that. You know what? I'm just going to do it real quick. Stardew Valley cost. Let's just look it up. What am I doing? $15 on PC now. I think that's come down a little bit. I think it used to be 20, but I don't know now. Either way, it's a huge, huge, huge return on investment because one person took a few years to make it, and I don't even think he was paid during that time by anyone. I think it was just a passion project, which is awesome. I love it. Team Cherry size. Let's take a look at Team Cherry size. Actually, I'm going to use my third one. Team size for Team Cherry. How large is Team Cherry? Team Cherry is 3 people. 3 people. Silk Song dev time. I think it was 6 years, 7 years. Which was it? Whoops. 7 years. 7 years, 3 people. We'll say $100,000 a year for each of them. That is $210,000. Or not $210,000. $2.1 million. How much has it sold already? Let's take a look. Sales totals for Silk Song 5 million copies already. And I think it was a $20 game. I think. Again, massive profit. Even if they sold each copy for $1, for $1, they'd have already made profit. So, yeah. That was the development time is wild. It needs to be brought down. You need to have, well, it's actually just the combination of both. Development time and team size are needing to come down. So the average development time of a game from an indie studio is between months and years, depending on the game, depending on how complex it is, how much there is, and the size of the team. But as you can see, if you paid $100,000 to 3 people over 7 years, that's $300,000 a year, $2.1 million. Cool? Awesome. Makes sense, right? Yeah, $2.1 million. But then you have for a AAA game. AAA games, average development time and average team size for AAA games. Why did I type it with 2 P's? For AAA games. AAA games take between 3 to 5 years, and some even take up to 8. 3 to 5 years. And can be between 100 and 200 developers. Do you understand that? 100 and 200 developers. That means we're going to use the same calculus on this. Let me just do it so everyone can see. Clear as day. We're going to say 150 developers on the app. Nope, we're going to just do the cheapest that you can do. $100,000 a year salary for 100 developers is $10 million a year. A year. Even though that's easy math because of all the zeros and just doing the right number of zeros. I want it to be perfectly clear so that no one can say, oops, you goofed the math. $10 million a year just to pay salaries for AAA studios. Meanwhile, it's also for 3 to 5 years, up to 8. So you are looking at $30 to $50 million just for the developers. Then you've got marketing on top of that. You've got all this other stuff on top of that. I think, personally, I do think that game studios should actually start. How many games have you bought in the last year that you care about the way they look more than the way they play? I'm guessing 0, because it's 0 for me. The games I'm playing right now are Clover Pit, which is a very blocky 3D game that takes place in a room the size of a porta potty with graphics that are 64-bit, not that detailed. Balatro has nice graphics. It looks clean, but it's simple. It's poker cards. Simple, right? Megabonk, our new shining, exploding roguelike on the scene. Looks like PS2, PS1 graphics, maybe even. It's not the biggest thing. There are games that are fun to play, and they sell like hotcakes. They can look like dirt, but if they are fun to play, they sell wildly successfully. Meanwhile, you have the games that they put 5 years of artists, because this calculus was just for the developers of a AAA game. It was not for artists. It was not for managers. It was not for any of that. The game studios have so much bloat to make games look nice and look quote unquote photorealistic that it's ridiculous. It's unnecessary. People like games that are fun, whether they look photorealistic or not. which is why I'm bringing up the point that they need to stop doing this. They need to pare it back, and they need to make these development cycles maybe 24 months, 18 to 24 months. But they need to pare back the demand of those games. The demand should be make a fun game, period. Whether it is a story-driven game or a multiplayer-driven game or whatever it is, just make it fun. And we will sell it and we will make profit. Period. Secondly, they need to... So the way that this is going is that they're seeing video games be a popular thing. And they're seeing people spending $60, then $70. They're seeing people that are whales buy the exclusive bundles that are $1,200 or some wildly expensive bundle. And they're forgetting that the average video game person, male, female, doesn't matter. The average person is trying to get their money's worth. They're raising prices to $80. If Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out and makes it $100, do you think Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo are going to stay at $80? No. Everyone's going to jump up to $100. That's why I admire that indie studios are still between, like, the high end is like $40. The high end of an indie. But Silksong was sold for $20. $20. They've already made their profit. You know why? Small team size. One, they funded everything with sales from Hollow Knight. How many sales did Hollow Knight make? Hollow Knight sales total. Let's see here. I want the total. 15 million copies at, I think, $20 again. 15 million copies at $20. They were able to fund all three of them getting paid $1 million for 5 years just from this alone. Minimum. Like, even if you got it on sale in a Humble Bundle and they only received $1 for each copy, they still could pay themselves $1 million each for 5 years. Instead, they took their time making their second game because they had the funds from this. They're not doing the whole wish-washy fun stuff where, oh, this game is having the money now go to that game because we need our COD money. No. They had their hit, and they used that hit's money to pay for the next of that series, which is how it should be. Instead, large team sizes, long development cycles, those just bloat how expensive it is to make that game, which then means that in order for a game to be successful, they have to do much higher sales numbers. You have to sell more copies or at a higher price tag in order to cover that now. If they lowered the team count to 20 devs, that's still a high number. 20 devs and 5 artists and 1 marketing run, that cost to develop would be a tenth of it. And if they made it 18 to 24 months, you could pump out more games. And those more games could succeed or fail. You could get new IPs. You could try new genre mashups. You could try all sorts of new things. Balatro was taking the gambling genre and the roguelike genre and putting it together, and we got a game that people loved. It hit all of your lizard brain buttons in your head. Instead, the AAA studios have become less and less and less innovative. They are doing the exact same game over and over and over, and it's not an acceptable way, in my mind, to run a company. Eventually, all those companies will close down, or they'll close down all the studios underneath them. Personally, I'm looking forward to seeing what changes at EA. I'm tired of the nickel and diming. I'm tired of the DLC. I think that the Arab countries that have bought them will actually say, no, we're done with the woke virtue signaling crap. Make a game that's fun, that will be profitable. Make it fast, lower the costs of making it, because let's be honest, people are insane if they think that a 5-year development time, when they are purely chasing trends. Think about it. Fortnite came out, and then 3 to 4 years later, everything was a battle royale. Everything. I mean, technically PUBG started it, but the point is, after it started, 3 to 4 years later, everything had a battle royale in it. Now Call of Duty is just a battle royale game. It's no longer the multiplayer matches that you played growing up. It's battle royale. No one plays the just regular multiplayer. It's battle royale. People wanted Halo Infinite to have battle royale, while other people were like, absolutely not, do not put a battle royale in this. But if it takes you 3 to 5 years to chase that trend, the trend is probably gone by the time those games arrive. Hero shooters were dead after Overwatch was replaced with Overwatch 2. I mean, Overwatch player average on PC. Because PC was the primary place that people played Overwatch that I ever saw. Player count average. Let me add counts in there. That'll help. Player count average. No, I want Overwatch 1. We've got our answer for Overwatch 2 now. 30 to 35,000 people in a month. Overwatch 1 average player count on PC. So according to this... the average player count of the original Overwatch is not officially tracked as it was replaced by Overwatch 2. So we don't actually have numbers for what their average count was back when it was just Overwatch 1. At its height, Overwatch had a significant player base with reports indicating a peak of over 20 million players. Average count. There's no specific data. Peak player count for Overwatch 2 in the last 33 days was 44,000. I'm sorry, I don't believe it. I don't believe that Overwatch 1, that everyone loved, everyone was playing, it was watched on Twitch all the time, and there was a community around it. I refuse to believe that Overwatch 1 had only 20 million people on their peak, where Overwatch 2, a game that a huge portion of the fan base disliked because of the predatory actions they took. The fact that they dropped their PvE that they had promised for Overwatch 2, which was the whole reason for Overwatch 2, is there, or is gone. You're trying to tell me that it has a higher... Oh, wait, no. Indicating a peak of 20 million. Sorry. Dumb moment. 20 million players. Okay, so my point was true. Because peak was 20 million players. Meanwhile, Overwatch 2's peak, at least in the last 30 days, was 44,000. That is a huge difference. Huge difference. Massive difference. So yeah, it's the daily peak in a day was 1.6 million. So yeah, the point is that the game studios, they're doing stuff to make themselves as much money as possible. They need to reduce the cost to produce these games. They need to reduce the costs. They need to bring stuff in line, make it faster so that you can fail more frequently and give us games that are enjoyable. If you want to chase a trend, having a game take 18 months to develop, and that trend might still be there. It might be gone, but it might still be there. Instead, all these games, Overwatch 2 screwed itself by absolutely stabbing its player base in the back. just, I mean, I'm thinking of hero shooter after hero shooter. You know what saved fucking Marvel? Attractive characters. Attractive characters and the player base of Overwatch 1 finding Overwatch 2 unappealing. Then, boom, attractive characters are suddenly back on the menu. They're back on the menu. They're in a new game. It's a fun game. It's a balanced game. I mean, there's a saying that I heard back in the day. You can tell how successful a game is by how much Rule 34 of it there is. I'm willing to bet that there's the memes about all the Rule 34 from Overwatch 1. Then, I'm willing to bet that there's a bunch of Rule 34 for Marvel. I mean, outside of the comics. I'm talking about purely based off of the game characters. Because, you know, the game characters always have a little bit different of a look. But I'm willing to bet that. So, with that, I'm kind of going to conclude it with just the roundabout. They either need to lower their team size so that the cost of it is down, lower the development time so that the cost of it is down, or lower both so that the cost comes drastically down, and then charge less. These games that are taking years to develop on a small team and then sell for $20 are making massive profit. These games that are short development times with a couple of developers are making massive profits. These companies, Overwatch 2 was in development for how long? 5 years? Development time was 5 years, I think. Overwatch 2 had a long development beginning in... Yeah, it was like 5 years. That's a lot of money that goes to those teams. You have to have shorter development times. You have to cut back on the photorealism. Yeah, put out a game that's photorealistic here and there. But have a lot of them look like a fun game that's PS3 graphics. PS3 graphics are a lot faster to make than 4K ultra realistics. Also, it's going to save... You have to consider people's hardware. I'm not buying another Call of Duty game. I'm not installing another Call of Duty game because it is 100 plus gigabytes of my storage space. Period. That's not an acceptable thing to me. So, lower the cost of development, then lower the cost to buy the game, increase the release cycles so that you get more games that are fleshed out to a certain level periodically, and I think that gaming can return to greatness. This is why all the games I buy are indie almost. I will buy here and there a normal, regular game, but almost every game I buy is indie at this point. Why? It's going to have passion to it. It's going to have humor in it. It's going to be well made, and it's going to be something that I can afford. I'm a father of 2. I spend in a full year, I spend maybe $200 on myself. Maybe. That would be 3 games that are AAA. Not even 4 full games. Meanwhile, indie games, I can get about 10 indie games for that cost, for that $200. If you're a gamer, you know exactly what I'm saying. You know it's true. So with that, how about we tell these game studios, tell them to stop working with Sweet Baby Inc. Tell them to stop charging so much. Do not buy their slop. If it is slop, don't buy it. 2 things will happen. 1, you will send the message, don't make slop, and they will start making better games. 2, the game will go on sale later, and then you can consider buying it for a price that makes sense with the content that was provided. If you get a AAA game that's $80, but it only has $40 worth of content and you buy it at $80, you're sending a message to the studio that you will pay double what that game should actually be. If you wait for the sale on Black Friday or whatever sale comes up, then in that case, you are sending the message, this game is really worth $40 or $30 or $20. That's what you're sending the message of. And if you keep sending that message over and over, I'm not paying $80 for your slop, I'm paying $30. Eventually, those game studios go, we should really not consider charging $80. That shouldn't even be a consideration. So you guys, everyone likes the, for the workers and for the common man. Your biggest thing in capitalist society, this is why capitalism is good. The biggest thing, every single one of us gets a vote in a capitalist system. If a product that's produced is garbage, you vote, I'm not going to do that. If a company does garbage things, you can vote, I'm not going to support that. And whenever you put that vote down on the counter, you say, I'm in support of this, or you withhold it, and they get this visible reaction of, this is not supported, this is not a good move, we've done something wrong, etc. If you have a restaurant here where I live that does something racist, I'm going to go, I'm not going to go there. I don't support racism. I don't do that. Should they be arrested? No. I don't think they should be arrested. I think that it should be made clear that this group is racist so that people like me can go, I'm not going to that restaurant again. If you throw someone out just for being black or Hispanic or whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm not going back to you. So with that, leave your comments down below. Like the video, share it, subscribe, please. I think that the lunch break made some good points on how these studios suck at budgeting themselves, at actually delivering a fun experience for many players. It needs to stop. They need to actually take their games and make them enjoyable again. I'm gonna hashtag MGGA. Make gaming great again. Bring us back the stuff that's just fun to play. With that, thanks guys. I appreciate you coming through, and I hope to see you in the next video.